Hi everyone, welcome to my messy workshop where the real stuff happens. I don't have as much to report in this week's vlog as I would like because last weekend our well pump died. We have our own well, we're not on a city water system, and Saturday night I was in the shower and the well pump died mid-shower. At least I'd gotten the shampoo rinsed out of my hair first. So for about 48 hours we had no water. And then for about another 24 hours after that, we could not drink or cook the water because it had been treated just to protect us from any accidental contaminants that might have entered the well when they opened it to put the new pump in. So that was fun. I mean, I still could have worked in my workshop, but it threw me. Not having water was just very stressful. Fortunately, my in-laws live less than a mile away, so we went there for showers, we went there to get water for drinking, carried it back in jugs, and we got 5-gallon buckets of water to pour in the toilets so they could be flushed once in a while. So yeah, so that wasn't fun. And then the day after the well pump died, my husband's lawnmower also died, a permanent death, irreparable. So it just was not a great weekend. But I did get a fair amount of work done in the last couple of days on the balustrades. So what's done is what you can see. Now, I say done, meaning that I've finished cutting them and arranging them. I still have some more gluing to do. I did glue all the pieces together, but on some of my joins I think I didn't tape them that well because they didn't really stick. So I do have to do a little bit more gluing on some of the joints. That piece right there, you can't see it at this angle, but I do need to trim that down a little bit. It's just a little bit too long, so I'll probably take one post off. And then I will have to go around, do a little bit of wood fill, sand things to smooth things out, and touch up all the paint. Now the only one that's actually fixed to the dollhouse is the one at the top there. That one is glued into place. It was easier to glue into place than I expected. The others are not glued into place because I think it'll be easier for me to finish gluing, sanding, painting, touching up before I glue into place. And then I will glue this one and this one into place. But these right here I'm going to set aside somewhere because I want to create chimneys to go right here. And I think it will be easier to work on the chimneys if I don't have this stuff in the way. So I'll install that later. And I have to show you what I did. So all the way through this whole process, I was so careful to check, make sure I wasn't gluing anything in upside down. And you guessed it, I glued something in upside down. And it was the very last piece I glued to anything. So you see this, the wide part of the post is at the bottom, and here they're upside down. Can't believe I did it after being so careful all the way through to make sure I didn't do it. The last piece I glued, I put it on upside down. So I'll have to pull that piece off and re-glue it, and it should come off okay if I just use my craft knife very carefully to kind of pry it apart. Hopefully I don't break anything because I have only one solid piece left and no usable scraps. And so I've made a decision about the top of the dollhouse. Now this dollhouse is normally shown with railings up on these roofs here. And I've decided not to do them for two reasons. One is financial and the other is appearance. I like the way it looks right now. The financial reason is that I can't get these from my wholesaler anymore because of that whole tariff situation. They were the UK wholesaler that I was dealing with, and then I did get more of these in the States, which I paid retail price for, but now they're disappearing rapidly, and I was only able to find a very few left with an Etsy seller and another miniature site, and they're very expensive now, so I think people are aware that these are not available or that they can't afford the tariffs on them, so they're disappearing fast. So there's not going to be railing on that top part, but I think that's fine. I think it was actually starting to look, I think it would actually start to look too fussy. So I like that decision that I've made. I had a very, very brief moment of thinking I wanted this house a different color. On camera it looks a very bright blue. It's not so bright. It's more of a, I don't know, like a nautical blue, I guess, in real life. And it's not a typical color for that era. There were some blues being used in the late 20s, early 30s, but they were more gray blues. The tones at that time were tended to be a lot more earthy, a lot more subdued, except with the exception of some peacock jade green, some ruby red, a couple of, you know, jewel colors like that. So this one wouldn't be so typical. And I had a little moment of like, I really kind of wish I had done this in sort of a, you know, a sage green or something like that. And I thought, you know, I could paint over it. It would be fine. And then I kind of looked at it, and, you know, some of the windows are already installed and there's all this trim everywhere, and I went, no, this house is staying blue. So that's another decision that I made. It's staying blue. Okay, and what else happened in the shop? So I did begin to work out plans for my porch, and I've started recording the video for that. I am not using the balustrades. I'm doing porch railings and columns and lace, and I have all of those things. So I'm not going to get into the details of that with the video here, but just, you know, so you know, I am starting to work on that. And I'm feeling a little less nervous than I originally thought about the porch. It's all square. There's no 45-degree angles. It's all 90-degree angles, and it's pretty straightforward, so I don't think it's going to be nearly as intimidating as the balustrades. And I survived the balustrades, I can survive the porch. The last thing is I also started recording a video about my office space, which is feeling very uninspiring to me right now. I love the light in this room. I love the color of the room. I like the rug that I put down. I like my desk, but the space is becoming very cluttered and overwhelming. And the layout, it's just really frustrating me. So I have a couple of ideas. I'm very limited in what I can do in here right now, just space-wise in terms of the whole house. But I do have a couple of things I'm going to do to try to make it work for me a little bit better. And I plan to do some recording on that. However, even though I started recording that video, it's going to be a while before I get back to it, because we're going to do my husband's office first. So he has not had an office since our kids were very little. And our extra daughter, the one we laid claim to, who doesn't actually belong to us, just bought a house and moved out of her room. We miss her a lot, but my husband's looking forward to finally having an office in her old, very tiny bedroom. I can't believe this poor girl lived in this tiny bedroom for so long. Of course, she worked about 70 or 80 hours a week all the time and was in school a lot of the time, so she didn't even sleep there all the time. She was very often sleeping at the fire station where she worked. So anyway, that tiny room is going to be my husband's office, but the walls need to be patched and painted, and the nasty 30-year-old carpet that this poor girl was living on needs to be torn out. And we have to get the bed and the bureau out and get his desk in there, which is up in our bedroom right now. So that's a lot of stuff to do. And we're going to be traveling for about 8-9 days. So that's all going to get done first before I can come back and work on my office. So there you have it. That's the Dollhouse Diary for the week. I'm really looking forward to getting this balustrade stuff as done as I can, even though I'm not going to glue these pieces in right away, and I'm looking forward to getting the porch done. I am not looking forward to doing the chimneys. gonna be dealing with more, not 90-degree angles. So that's gonna be, and I have to undo some stuff that I've already done. So chimneys may not actually happen. I will get started on them when I get there, try it out, and if it seems too ridiculous, then this house just may not have chimneys. We'll see. Okay, thanks for checking in. Talk to you soon. Bye.